Avast to all ye who let go Thasteron's sails, to break away the dark shores of cold, unfeeling space. To ye who be brave enough to spit in the purple storms of Brethda, I say, welcome to Cosmic Crit. I be your navigator, Crota-Tooth Tyler, and I'll be helping ye set course and find your way over the next adventure. But before we load cannons and loose sails, there'll be a few words of news to come across the winds. Patrick, Seth Jabert, Rebecca and myself have started up a brand new voyage, one fit for the pirate queen Besmara herself. South by Southeast, pointy IP address to patreon.com. Begun have we the new show, converted from the ancient tombs of Pathfinder, first edition. Skull and Shackles be the name, and Patrick be putting his barnacled brain to work recreating everything but for second edition. Now a new pirate era has begun on the shores of Cosmic Crit. So if ye be interested in tales of swash and listening to the stories of plunder, bravery, the sound of metal swords ringing, and the search for true adventure on the high seas, then make ye mark. Sign up on Patreon and join the crew. Now there be a change in the tides, and it almost be me time to leave these waters. But before I go, clean the sea water from your ears and listen close. Old Ty will tell ye the story of episode 143, Licensed to Illemchuuva.
Episode commencing in 3, 2, 1. Episode initiated.
Join us as we board the Normandy on a special mission for the elusive man to reap what we sow in this week's episodes of Crit Effect 2. This is your Commander Shepard here, aka Patrick, and I'm your GM of this here podcast, your Grunt Marine, welcoming you back to more action this week's episode. Forming up a tight squad of 5 or 6 with me this week is my collection of alien weirdos and romance options. Help me by welcoming my 5 friends and your players to my rights. Don't mess with this mom unless you want to get biotic tossed. It's Rebecca rolling with Zinnia Samara.
Hello.
Across from her, this legion of a robot is ready for a red, blue, or green ending. It's Drew delivering Echo 7.
Patrick.
To my right, this ex-soldier also got his eyeball all jacked up. It's Tyler dredging up Zaid Davasho.
The genophage is a hoax.
Across from him, the Sheeran is planning to Admiral Hackett the swarm with a sword. It's Jabber Plant's best.
Hey guys, how you doing?
And across the digital table, while this little plant doesn't have a huge mass, certainly has had an effect on this podcast. It's Mild, bringing sprouts.
Good evening.
Boy, guys, I can't even with this week's episode. I got so much stuff to get to, so much things. I don't even have time to ask you how you're doing, Miles. There's simply no time. We're just going to have to assume that you're doing good.
Lost a leg.
I said we don't have time. We're not checking in. You know why, guys? Because this week we are kicking off book 3 of Attack of the Swarm.
Exclamation point.
Yes, I say it like I'm attacking you with the words Attack of the Swarm.
Well, that's why they put the exclamation point on there.
I know, right?
Yeah. They knew what they were doing.
So you can grab it like a billy club and hit people with it.
But yeah, let's get straight into it. Straight into the action. But before we do, we hear from the one and only Sprouts Marlowe, who's going to tell us what happened last time on Cosmic Crit.
It's never as easy as they make it seem in the holovids. We ducked into a mystical cavern beneath New Graka, and as soon as I found Briar and made sure Petals were still breathing, wouldn't you know it, another large bug decided to rain on our parade. This thing was large and red and spawned little flying mosquitoes that made for good target practice. We got what we came for, though. Briar's alive, recuperating, and Tresh found a long-lost relative. When we made it back to HQ, we were rewarded with a nice, overdue vacation from SDF duties by Commander Najiri. But something tells me this will be short-lived, as there's always another bug to squash.
and I guess something else happened last week. Oh, you guys all reached level 5. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Right.
Once again, congratulations. You all lived, yada, yada, despite my best efforts. So no need to be sore winners, but we do have to talk about it. It is customary that we circle around the table and we talk about leveling up a little bit, like one or two things you're excited about. Obviously, level 5, everyone's ability scores like super explode. You get a bunch of bonuses there. But yeah, I'm talking about class abilities. Everyone gets a feat this level. I have a very specific order I want to go in. No asking who's ready. Jabert, you're up first.
Let's see. I took a spell focus at this level for Trest, so getting the DCs up a little bit. Although, I mean, now I'm sort of thinking about it. I'm not really sure that was the best idea. But
oh no, second guessing on the podcast.
I'm just stopping and thinking. I'm like, how many of my spells actually have saving throws? 1? Okay, well, just 1.
Procket, we'll change it live.
But that one's going to be much better. Yeah, well,
that's going to be so much better. Yeah,
that's nice. There's not a ton of stuff besides leveling up or increasing your ability score, right? That can boost those kind of things.
Yeah. It's there's only so many ways to do it, and so this is one of them. So if I'm going to be adding in some other stuff later on, I want to make sure that I can sort of support that. And my wisdom isn't it's high, but I'm not really like bumping it up to like maximum levels or anything. So I need a little bit of help with it.
Do you get any do you get new spells at this level, or do we have to wait till level 6?
So I picked up See Invisibility, just a great utility spell. But I get level 3 spells at the next level. So,
ooh, my.
Yeah.
Okay, next around the horn, we're going to Tyler. Tyler, talk to us about one of our other martial characters here.
Well, in the big bug world, it's a big bug snooze fest over here, Patrick.
Oh, no.
I mean, I got a feat, but it's weapon focus. Oh. Nobody cares about weapon focus. Hey, when I align my shield against an enemy, it's +3 now, just not +2. More boring stats that nobody cares about.
Not only are you harder to hit, but you hit harder. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
I do. Yeah, and then of course, I put stats into strength, con, and charisma. Gosh. So I'm gonna keep pushing things into charisma so that I can do that gravity hold and I can force choke you like a Jedi and throw you off a cliff.
You're unstoppable, and I hate it already. This is the base for when we get to like level 10 or whatever.
I was gonna ask, do I get my new level? Do we get more resolve this level? Yeah.
It's half your level plus your key ability score, so even levels mainly.
No. Okay. Well, I'm not very excited about that. I almost took extra resolve just to try to not have to deal with the consequences of not having enough resolve.
But that would kick in once you wake up the next morning, of course.
Yeah, I'm still in trouble.
Tyler thinks I forgot about stuff. Oh no, we got to get to this episode first. Miles, you're up next. What about our favorite detective?
So one of the cool things about being a detective is his specialization exploit is glimpse the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And this one is kind of neat. So by picking on subtle clues and hidden traces in your immediate surroundings, you can see things as they really are. As a full action, you can spend 1 resolve to gain the effects of true seeing for 1 round with a range of 60 feet.
God, and 60 feet is so much.
That's so good.
So what true seeing is, for those who don't know, is basically you confer upon the target the ability to see all things as they actually are. You see through normal and magical darkness, secret doors hidden by magic, and the exact locations of creatures or objects that are invisible or displaced. You see through illusions and see the true form of changed or transmuted things. Further, you can focus your vision to see into the ethereal plane, but not into extra-dimensional spaces.
Guys, all the swarm from here on out are invisible, and you've got their number. You can see them, you can discern them.
So my question to you, Patrick,
vision.
Yeah, it's like playing Arkham City or Asylum. And my question is this only a combat feat? Like, can I just spend a resolve to use this while we're looking around places?
Yeah, you can You can find the invisible treasure in every room that I've put there and you guys have never found.
We've just been walking past like gobs and gobs of UPBs.
Yeah. You foolish fools. If only you could see it. You can find illusory walls like we found in the Caverns of Friendship underneath Ultranius. You can just see right through the illusions. Probably going to be very useful for invisible creatures as well, whereas you're like, you see like, air moving around them or like dust kicked up from their feet and stuff like that. And,
I'm excited about that.
Right. Okay, well, that's a cool one. Rebecca, let's talk to you about our favorite ghost operative.
Yeah, so while Sprouts is finding hidden things, Zinnia's over here hiding. So my specialization exploit as a ghost operative is Cloaking Field. And it's a move action to activate, but it makes it so that I can use stealth to hide even if I'm being directly observed or have no place to hide. So I can just hide in plain sight.
Oh yeah. That's a good one. I mean, it is completely negated by Miles's ability, so if you ever fight, it's not gonna be as useful. But I imagine there's a number of things that it would make it useful to just disappear, like in broad daylight. Awesome. Yeah, so that's your level 5 ability. Operatives, both of you guys, your damage is going up some ridiculous amount, correct?
Yeah, trick attack is now 3d8.
Oh my god. Oh my goodness. What?
I know. Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm very, very excited about this.
Why? What? My employee was
might
like,
finally do some damage. It'll be nice.
Jabert knows this is like the one level that they are. I mean, unless you are spending like all of your credits on weapons, like you get outclassed by operatives here.
They're so good at level 5, like 5 through 7. So good.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, unless I'm dropping like multiple like high level weapons on everyone else, you guys, that one shot will be very important. So you want to make sure you hit. Last but not least, you know why I saved you, Drew. We got some fun stuff, right? Fun things.
Yeah, I got the combat feat.
Ooh yeah.
Actually, I didn't get a combat feat this turn.
You got a feat.
I got a feat. I got a few things. I got a new class feature called Heavy Fire, where I can spend a full round action to take one shot and add my strength bonus to it. But as I looked at it, it's only a 2 for old Echo 7 because he's a dex-based soldier. So I figured maybe we'll spice things up. Picked up a little feat called Powered Armor Proficiency.
Chunk. This is something that we talked about at the beginning of the campaign, the potential to do powered armor, and I might have written powered armor into the first AP, thinking like someone's got to do it eventually, right? But yeah, that was just like a regular cargo lifter. But Jankser, I gave you the option last week of going kind of 50-50 with her on crafting some powered armor, making it so tantalizing you could not give it up. But that's an interesting. I didn't know about that soldier heavy ability where you can now add strength into the shot, kind of put your shoulder into it.
Yeah, meaning I will now get a +4 to that with my brand new battle harness.
Woo! Yeah, so your shots are now doing like +10 damage, like whatever the dice is, +10. Is that right?
No, I think it is just it's. Let me think.
Well, I guess it's your level, right? And then +4 for strength. It's up there.
Yeah, it's 9 or 10, something like that. So
I think it depends on the weapon because maybe you took the I forget which feat you took that maybe fire weapons do more. Or there's a couple of different soldier abilities. We'll talk about them. But that's level 5. Welcome to it, you guys. This is the 3rd time you've been in this position on the podcast. One of the
kind of amazing, actually. I feel like 5 is a pretty long way to take a character. So very exciting.
Yeah, and this is like you said, where a few character classes and things kind of pop off, where we see some builds coming together, some weird melee mystics and shield Solarians, I'm sure in the near future. I'm frightened spoiler about seeing you in combat. You're already dangerous, but
I think my big level is like 7 or something.
oh goodness, it's coming soon. So yeah, when we last left off on the podcast, bit of a cliffhanger at the end of book 2, we have the Drift Rider crew walking down the plank of the Drift Rider coming up to Trest. Trest, you see the Starfinder heroes of the Pact in front of you. Maybe you've seen some footage coming out of the Pact about them before. Maybe you've just like heard through the grapevine, but for certain, it is a household name at this point in the battle arenas on Eoxian reality TV. You see the one and only Edros, and behind them, maybe you have like some like Quindar electronics in your bunk, maybe like a food dehydrator and back in your apartment on Susquehanna. Pretty major figures here stepping down towards you. What does Tress say?
Gosh, I had something dope to say at the end of last week's thing, but
I cut
been
you
a little
off.
bit of time. Yeah, you were like, to be continued. I was like, beans. I guess what a hunk of junk is not a great thing to say to these folks. I guess I'll say, Starfinders, welcome to Ultranius.
You see Edros, the one and only, kind of whisper something into his comms, and you see up in the ship the shadow in the cockpit that you are pretty sure is that of Andis 148 as he's piloting the trip.
Why is Andis piloting the Drift Rider?
Because Trest is down here and it's played by Jabert, but everyone else is. Shut up, Miles. Let me go with the story. Yeah, what all do you have to say, the rest of you, in your other season 1 characters to this Sheeran Sargent who helped capture one of the members of the Founding 19, bring him back to the group, another of these supposedly founding androids?
I think Adros would just be complaining about how we're not here to actually fight in the war.
Hey, no one says you can't go to Susquehanna and mess some stuff up. That could be a special episode where
Yeah, well, but then he's gotta fly all the way
But
back.
can we be level 13 fighting level 5 things?
yeah, level
wrecking
13
things.
and I'll just have hundreds of them coming at you.
Yeah. I hand off Sister Spark and I walk onto their ship and I say, enjoy, everyone.
Settle down, Evie. There's plenty of bugs to go around. We'll get back to it eventually. Just, we got more important things.
I'm just asking for a small pit stop somewhere. So, you know when the last time I even saw combat was? I mean, I can only spar with Alindra so many times before I'm tired of being exploded across the walls of the Drift Rider. You know?
9 seconds into every single combat.
I'd like to win one every now and again.
Not gonna happen, sir.
All right, Alindra would step forward and greet Trust. Thank you for your work, your continued work on Ultranius, and for your help in procuring this android. You don't understand how important this is. And she would gesture to Andis up in the cockpit, particularly for others of our crew.
Well, I certainly hope she's worth it. Watch her. She's a wily one.
She will be in good hands, I assure you.
She doesn't look that beat up. She should look more beat up.
We'll see to that on the ship, okay? Adros?
Look, not everybody can non-lethally hit somebody and knock their eye out, Adros.
Well,
Are you talking about that Kish thing again? Listen, we've been over it 1,000,000 times. It was an accident. I tried my best. You've been running me ragged on that one for months.
You know, they call that guy Johnny Two Eyes now. Do you understand how insulting that is to the Kish?
That's a good one.
Listen, I set up a charity crowdfunding page for him. I've done everything I can.
Please excuse them. It's been a long trip. We
yes,
really
this is
gotta
this is
get
quite a
going.
lively crew. You don't have anyone more mellow on that ship, maybe? Maybe a goblin or two. A dog.
We have Ramey's dog.
Miles, how excited is Ramey to be on basically a prisoner pickup for the
Not at all. Like this entire time, he's focused on teaching Mr. McScruffin's new tricks.
It's only like 5d6 days to get out to Ultranius. That's easy, right? You've been on the same ship for that long.
I mean, in fairness, it's what 1d6 to get back home. So
yeah, it's a short drop home. But yeah, you guys have had a long one here, and you probably are pretty unhappy that you're maybe not able to help out with the war on Susquehaln. But yeah, you do have a mission that our season 1 characters have to fill out back in the pact. And
I would indeed extend the offer if they have time, if they could help with the war effort. Their skills would be much appreciated, but I understand.
They're way out of level.
I was going to say, Remy immediately wants to join, and I play Remy now.
Come back in book 6 or so, and we'll talk. But yeah, you gotta make it back out there, and then if you came right back afterwards, it would still take like 6.
I miss infinite magic missiles.
Magic missile. What? Right. So the prisoner handoff is made, and Tress, as Commander Njiri intimated, this is part of like a larger deal with Pact stewards and places like the Eoxian Embassy, as well as some other planetary dignitaries in the Pact, to help like build support for supplying and arming the Susquehaln forces. So it's pretty big deal, but it is definitely politics, which is why she asked just for you and not the rest of the squad. It is up to you if you want to tell them, though. She didn't say it was top secret or anything, so that is what happens.
Sorry. To tell.
You can tell your squad after.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. No, I'm not pleased about somebody getting out of jail free like this. This has some powerful friends. If the Edros Varanus comes and gets you out of jail, I swear. And it's just put that lizard in jail too. Maybe he enjoys that. Oh, grumble.
Good for nothing, Vesk. Yeah, well, she mainly didn't want you to tell the squad mates because you guys have a week of downtime in front of you, and that is where we left off, seeing you guys starting some of those downtime activities, maybe changing into civilian clothes for the first time in a while, and just being able to explore the city, which now that these kind of insurgents in the form of Sister Sparks peoples, the Reckoners, have been quieted down, you notice that the protests and things like that are not nearly as violent. The fires all go out, and yeah, we see your characters being able to actually look around the city and not be on patrol. Zinnia, maybe we see you one of these days studying at the BBRC laboratories. Amy aiding you like she is, if you want to level her up, like a tiny little assistant, handing off beakers and what have you. It's only a few credits if you want to start leveling her up as a pet companion. Just saying.
I'll look into it.
And a few feats, whatever, to get her combat effective. But she is there. Sprouts, we see you maybe deep in the infosphere if you do want to follow in, investigate some of your teammates, sharing information with Briar, see what she can do from there.
Yeah, I mean, Sprouts will definitely do that on the side. He's also wanting to look into some of the seedier aspects of the city, following up with what Render's doing. Like, I mean, you can take the detective out of the city, but you can't take the city out of the detective. Like, he's still going to act like Sprouts. So even though he's not Absalon, he's still going to be kind of skulking around.
You can find like a ton of stuff that you, if you wanted to, could probably nail to Render, but her name like doesn't exist. It seems like she's actively indeed trying to remain off of all respective radars.
Oh no, I meant that he's like kind of hitting the pavement. He's not. He's just kind of like.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying you find information wherever you go, kind of pointing to her kind of growing power behind the curtain of kind of like the city's crime scene.
Yeah, it's a whole season's worth of material that we won't see.
This 1 week will be
adventure upon adventure.
AP 2.5, like the middle of this adventure. We'll come back to this.
Sprouts day out.
Sprouts on the street. And the rest of Midnight's squad. Maybe one of these days we see you eating just a huge dinner with Devasho's family if they're invited. And obviously Devasho, the main thing while your kids are asking the rest of your squad about would be how you like are in combat, fighting the swarm, and they all want to hear the story about how a swarm monster ripped out your eye. Wow.
They want to hear the story about how Devasho ran away
Oh,
that one time when we very much needed him.
When did I run away? Oh, that's a spell. That's a spell. You can't.
There was also the
time without Devasho.
There was also the time he could not fit through the door to get into the fight.
As a former large creature, I can empathize with
I was
that.
about to say, don't be sizes, Drew.
Yes.
Your medium characters.
I too like being invited to family dinners only to rag on the host. Good jokes. All good jokes.
But yeah, this vacation from the war is obviously going to be temporary. And before you know it, we see you all suiting back up into your SDF armor, checking your weapon, going down to Jenksers, re-equipping, getting ammo, getting batteries. We see Echo 7 indeed coming from the basement armory of SDF headquarters here, wearing powered armor that seems just like an extension of your metal chassis. So you're like bulkier, but it looks very much like your metal frame has just added some more parts to it.
Echo 7 looks over at Devasho and says, "You know the difference between you and me?
What?
I make this look good."
Fair enough. I am one-eyed and purple.
What are you guys' comments on seeing Echo 7 2.0? 7.2.0? Is that what we're gonna go with?
I think Devasho would geek out a little bit. Like he'd think it's cool. This is, he's mostly necrotic energy at this point. So I think seeing some dope half mech thing would be kind of fun for him.
Sprouts would be like, I can't wait to ride it.
I'm sort of looking through like the rule book to see if there's any rules against that.
Hey, you can get this armored right now.
Yeah.
So this armor
No rules say I can't. No rule says a robot can't wear another robot.
So this armor has a mounted weapon on the right shoulder, which is awesome. But I had Jankser install a chair on the left shoulder.
A little seatbelt.
I'm sorry. All she could do was like a stool, like a spinny stool that looks like a little mushroom popping out.
Like a lazy Susan with a seatbelt. That's all it is.
Well, when he's not riding up there, you can put some potato salad up there. Yeah. Sure.
We do have some business to finish up from last time. Tyler, you know what I'm talking about. Going back a few days.
Power armor.
Going back a few days from once you cleared the cave, we see you just covered in acid burns and claw attacks, and you indeed took enough damage to that. You need to rest up. You can't rest without the possibility of your moat invading your dreams. Necrotic energy. I need you to make a fortitude save. Fortitude, right?
Oh, wait. Making a...
Well, let me set the scene first. As that night, you do get to go on leave. So your husband has a posh executive villa at the top floor of the new Graka Seaside Hotel. Fine satin sheets, maybe cooler accommodations than you've ever had before. But yeah, while you're in this very cool apartment here, you're just excreting liquids from your carapace, kind of overheated, moisture wicking out of your body as you toss and turn. A thunderclap above the ocean outside rouses you, wakes you, and you see the sky has turned a pale purple and slowly moving beneath green spiderwebs of lightning arcing across the clouds, spread over this endless ocean. And that is where, indeed, your moat starts to call to Devasho. And if you look behind you, as you stand up from the bed is gone. Your husband begins to fade into this inky darkness. And your moat will call out once again, because I think this is going to affect your dice roll. We can gain power. We can gain strength. We can gain everything but we take it for ourselves. Go ahead and make that roll. No pressure. You got so many bonuses, right? There's no way you can.
Is this based off my level 4 or level 5 roll?
I think we gotta go with level 4, technically.
Great. Then just.
What was your bonus back then? It was like plus 6 or 7, right?
It was plus 6, but now it's plus 8.
Oh my goodness.
We're gonna minus 2 to what you actually see.
Oh, I'm fine.
You've rolled a 13 on the dice. No problem. DC, I believe 15 at this point.
Okay. Oh, good rolls.
The darkness just kind of fades away, and the colorization of the cloud here kind of like goes back to blacks and blues in the sky. And we don't get to see Necrotic Corruption Part 3.
I'd kind of like to think that maybe because of my disturbed sleep, like my husband wakes up or something and like grabs me, and like that touch, that like reaffirming, that care, that worry kind of snaps him back out of the trance that, like, you know, the moat tries to put him in, and he finds comfort again.
Oh yeah, you hear that moat calling your name, but then in the darkness, your husband right behind you pulls you out of it. But you've avoided, I'm sure, a fairly difficult conversation, but that night, you know, just seeing like how freaked out, sweaty, unable to get sleep you have been all evening. He makes a promise that you have to go see a doctor, and has like one of the SCF specialists ready for when you get suited back up at the end of this break, at the end of this rest. So while we fast forward back into the future, at the end of your guys' leave, we see you in a medical tent at SDF HQ. The doctor is a human female named Dr. Kilgorish. She's looking at a data pad as she finishes up your exam. You're putting your armor back on, and she says, "Why, soldier, it is my professional opinion that you need more rest. This has not been nearly enough. I've been rechecking the test data, and honestly, I'm unsure how you're still standing. Your immune system seems like it is working fine, perhaps stronger than ever, but whatever this disease or virus is, it seems like it has eaten away at your chitin. I would think this is your body rejecting the field necrograft heart you had implanted, but it seems to have incorporated the transplant almost too well. It's embedded itself in your flesh and is working beyond its initial capacity. Does that make sense, Devasho?"
I never thought that it would take hold so easy. I mean, is there something you can give me to help with sleep? I hear, and it is very restless, and it is causing my family much worry. It'd feel better if they could see me rest easier when I am on leave again.
She can prescribe you some like genetically tagged Mark II sedatives that will like only work for you, and says that, I mean, these will help with the sleep, but I would, in situations like this, recommend a technological replacement. Cut out the offending flesh that seemed to invite this disease, but it seems like it has spread beyond your chest cavity. At this point, we are seeing some necrotic corruption across your endocrine and carapace systems, and there's only one way at this point. It is beyond my expertise, but there are those who study mystical arts who have bathed patients with this kind of corruption in positive energy, magical potency beyond a mere healing serum. It must coat you from head to toe. Is there anyone in your party with a magical affinity?
That is a complicated question. I believe there is one with the gift of magic, but I have not spoken to him much about his gifts, and the conversations I have overheard with him, it does not seem that he has a unique connection to Hylax, to say least.
Well, if you are able and they're willing, if you maintain a strict regimen with healing and do it for maybe a month or so, you might be able to fight this thing off. But that is a big if, Devasho. Get some rest and think on this course of treatment, and if you are able to step away and take yourself out of this conflict, I think you can make a full recovery.
I do not know if fully stepping away is an option. There is too much at stake. I cannot simply leave my squad behind to sit and rest, but I will speak. I will speak to Trust about the magics you have discussed with me.
Okay, and I am bound by law not to share your information with your husband, but they have asked a lot of questions, and I would recommend being forthright with them. They are an ambassador, is that correct?
Yes.
They can make things a little difficult for me if they were so to choose. So please do. That will wrap up your doctor's appointment. And if you guys are ready to move beyond your well-earned vacation, you do get called back in for a debrief as soon as your time is up, bright and early, about a week later, and mustering back into Commander Najiri's office. You see, once again, she has a guest in the form of the old Sheeran priest Zelanan. He warmly greets you all. Oh, welcome! Hi, I'm here now.
I wish that's how everybody announces their presence. I'm here now.
It's me, Zelanan, now. Hello,
so are
friends.
we. We are here now too.
Oh my goodness, you're all here and still alive. Very good. I heard about your successful discovery of the caverns of the pilgrimage. The other priests of the House of Friendship and I, well, we've spoken with the Corps of Engineers and looked at their photos, and they have led us down there to sanctify the remains that were found of one of our earliest custodians, we believe, in the faith. And we have therefore found it fit, because of your discovery, to award you all an additional 2,500 credits from the Hylaxian Cultural Funds for the discovery of the site. Well, congratulations, Midnight Squad.
Oh, that is most generous. We couldn't possibly take money from Hylax's temple.
Oh, well,
Yes,
it is
I
not
would
from the
take those.
temple. It is from a collection of friends that have brought together and decided to donate to the war effort on the behalf of the discovery.
Oh, we think that this should go to the hungry people of
Okay.
Ultranius.
Okay, no take backsies.
no.
I got it now.
No, we humbly accept your gift. Zinnia has a lot of experience accepting grants. She has no problem with this.
Well, a lot of it is not credits. It's like UPPs and stuff as well. They
That's
explain
fine,
it's coming from several.
Some of it is
He
like
does not care about hungry people at all.
It's an IOU for like
some of
weapon
it's
parts.
like a family portrait that you just can turn into scrap if you want to.
There's a few Space Applebee's gift cards. Just
Those are as good as cash, depending on where you are, Drew. So don't knock them. Najiri will bring out. She's had it prepared, a small tray of glasses and some fine spirits, and she passes one out to everyone here and gives you a little salute on your discovery. The Corps of Engineers, indeed, working on kind of converting these caves. And she says, as Zelanan said, this cave's final guide, one Minesh, we have DNA tested and matched it to your family crest. It seems like they were indeed a few generations removed. We scoured the computer you brought back, and she mentioned several times something called the Forever Reliquary.
Well, first, what a coincidence. That is astonishing. Thank you for informing me about this. That is indeed a family name of in my family. So, I guess I don't talk about my family very much, but yeah, that's a thing, apparently. So now to your second point. Can you repeat that? I've already forgotten what you said.
The more important point, yes.
Yes.
She mentioned something called the Forever Reliquary.
Oh, of course, yes, the Forever Reliquary, which is very important.
Zelanan cuts in and says, "Oh, you may not know about it. It is a phrase that I've read and heard several times in texts at various lectures by Hylaxian scholars, but most of them gave the impression that it was but a metaphorical place, ultimate utopia, if you will, of peace and friendship that devotees of Hylax should strive for. Some even believed it was another name for Hylax's domain of friendship, spirit, energy."
I see, so this is some sort of a promised land.
Commander Najiri cuts back in and says, well, in either case, whatever you had discovered down there led me to think that it might be an actual place, as the caves themselves were thought lost. But this could also be somewhere on the material plane. I did some searching on the infosphere and found an article written by a Sheeran named Galchak, containing theories about the location of the Forever Reliquary. However, there is a big problem.
And what would that be?
The most recent information we have on Galchak is they were a professor at Zes University on the planet of Illemchuuva, the Chuva system. She looks kind of worryingly in your direction, Zinnia, and continues and says, Illemchuuva was the last system hit by the swarm before they came to Suskelin nearly a year ago. We can't be certain if this is coincidence or not, but even if there is the slightest chance that the swarm are seeking information about Hylax or this Forever Reliquary, it cannot be for a good reason. We need more data, and that's where you all come in.
Sounds like a road trip is about to happen.
Well, I have requisitioned a starship, and I am indeed sending you on a fact-finding mission to Illemchuuva. It may or may not be too late if the swarm has a lead on you, but if you're able to determine what and where this Forever Reliquary is, then perhaps it might hold the key to the war effort here in the Suskelin system. But that data set is on Illemchuuva, and if you can find it, it could be invaluable. The ship I've got for you is an SDF Suskelin whip, just commissioned out of the Ultranian yards, and it's called the Flash Viper. It's a stealth ship, so if you get into trouble, you should be able to slip in and out. It has an enhanced drift engine, so it should make up for some of the time that you've lost already to the swarm's lead. But I know you have been resting over this last week. If you'd like to re-equip now and head out, I would say any credits you have, maybe change over to UPBs via Jenxer. Any questions you have before you head out on your mission, just let me know, Midnight Squad.
Illemchuuva was one of the murals in the cave. Was there another location that might point to where the swarm might head next? I mean, if this is a pattern.
It seemed like the two other locations were not Illemchuuva in the cave depictions, but they were depicting the Shirin's exodus from the swarm. But both supposedly now Illemchuuva and Suskelin Ultranius in this system have been tied to the Shirin exodus. These are places supposedly the Shirin visited right after the gap. But
we
it's
don't
also
know what that third location is that was depicted in the.
Yeah, the third one didn't have a lot of details. It was depicting a Shirin family getting taken out by swarm.
Okay.
It's kind of like more of the horrors of war
Gotcha.
brought to that particular passage in the caverns.
Are we aware of the current status of the planet after the swarm invasion?
The swarm won the war on Illemchuuva, and while there are other settlements elsewhere in the system, oddly, as soon as they were done with that planet, they left the Chuva system and were in either deep or drift space for some time before they hit Suskelin 6 months ago.
Do we have any contact on the planet that we are supposed to rendezvous with, or are we just starting from scratch when we land?
We know of no survivors on the planet, but hopefully there are structures that still exist of this Zesh University. One of the reasons this is coming up for you all is, Zinnia, you do know the planet well. You spent some time there?
I did. In fact, I went to, I studied in college there, didn't I?
At the same university? Did you know this Galchak? He was not one of the professors. He's like more like a...
He's like the
religious
philosophy. History. Yeah. And yeah.
All the dumb
Then he was probably
stuff.
over in the science building.
Come on, like
time.
an elective. Maybe an elective.
Who needs humanities? I mean, come on. That's why my charisma is so low.
Yeah, so maybe by if like you bring up a picture, you might be like, oh yeah, there was that Shirin professor, but you have not met him them before. I forget which. Any other questions on your mission? You're going in very blind into this sitch.
We don't know whether they have survived or we're just no.
There's been no word of them, so if they have survived, they've been on a bug-infested planet for almost a year.
Yeah, it's miraculous, but maybe their writings have survived.
You're mainly looking for either hard drive or some physical copies of data, historical data. If you guys don't have any other questions, we're going to fast forward to you all meeting your new ship, a very stealthy black and purple SDF ship called the Flash Viper, and is one of the latest vessels in the SDF space defense. You can see it is nearly untouched on the inside as you get to exploring it. I'll take us there on the map. Pew. I love dropping new maps on you guys. As you're looking around it, plastic wrap's still on the mattresses, maybe tags on some of the chairs, like that plastic film you have to like peel off of every monitor on the bridge. Take a look around. New ship. There's some interesting new elements of this one. Your last vessel that you guys had was a pleasure barge for like a rich gangster. This is military tech for the Susklen whip. Is there a place that as soon as you board that you would go to and start preparing for launch?
I'd check out the pilot station.
Well, it's pretty easy right there on the bridge.
I'm just loading crates up into the cargo hold, I guess.
Check out the bridge as well.
Crates of all your UPBs.
Yeah, exactly.
'Cause I'm guessing now that they're going back in the air, Sprouts is gonna resume his captainship.
Oh yeah.
I'm
guessing you guys are taking mostly the same positions as before, but yeah, right now you don't have a sixth teammate. There's no one popping on board. No goblins in the cabinets to help you out.
No dogs. No undead guys. Charging.
What do you guys? Oh, go right ahead.
Devasha's near the power core, like, there are so many buttons, and
Who let you in here?
I do not have our convenient friend to hit all the buttons for me. We are in deep trouble.
What do you guys think of the design of the ship? It kind of looks like a bat wing or something to me.
It looks pretty dope, yeah.
Looks like a guitar with like demon wings.
I have to say, Zinnia is a lot more excited about piloting this thing than the cruise ship that we last piloted.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, this ought to be a lot more fun.
This thing looks like it belongs on the cover of a Meatloaf album.
The reason this episode's intro was Mass Effect 2 is this is like the
it looks like the
Normandy in my mind. Not a lot of frills on it. We've got the main stuff, engineering. There's I love when they're depicted on the starship's gunnery stations, and this one has one like kind of like in the belly, I believe, underneath the ship.
Yeah, I see.
There's escape pods, a couple of brigs, which I thought was interesting. Not very often you'll have to capture Swarm alive, but this is
honestly,
this is
we should have given this to the Drift Rider crew so they could take Sister Spark back to the Pact Worlds.
trade up for a tier 13 Drift Rider. I don't think so, Drew.
Because then he'd be like, "Oh, the Swarm are attacking you," and we would just start laughing. The entire episode would just be us laughing and just running into them.
Oh, because I can't increase the difficulty of a fight.
No, you're not allowed.
Right. So I've got the stats for her, and I can share them with you. The Flash Viper. But once you've made the necessary preparations, you can begin your journey for the Chuva system. Technically, you guys, the Chuva system is not very far from the Susklen system. Like, as far as like space goes, it would actually be possible to travel there using standard thrusters and not drift travel. It would take a good deal longer, but it's not like one of those months situations like other places in far space. But that being said, no matter what, when you take the drift there, it's going to take you a set amount of time through drift space, whether it was on the other side of the Pact system or just in the nearby galactic neighborhood of the Vast. Setting a course there, it's been a little while, is going to be a piloting check. And we had some problems with piloting on the last starship, mainly glitch gremlins. But if you guys want to set a course now, a couple of people can aid in that if they have piloting as well.
I can aid.
I'm guessing, Rebecca, you want to be the main role on this?
Yep.
I can also aid.
Go right ahead. Roll those aids, and we will make the big roll in a bit. All right, two aids. Oh boy, 26 and 22. You've got to beat
a lot of pressure for me.
17 on the dice. Oh boy.
5 on the dice. That's not great. That's a 20.
Oh no.
But with 2 A's, that would be a 24.
You should have put more points into piloting because you waste.
Put all my pilots.
about an hour or so making these calculations, and it comes back like 25 d6 days, and you're like, that's not right. That's not right at all. So while a failure, it doesn't take too much longer to plot another one. Go right ahead and make me that roll.
Piloting again?
Yep. I'm just going to say these two auto-aid because we got a +9 and a +7.
That's better. That's a 31.
Okay, good. The only real negative here is if you rolled so low. If you fail this DC 25 check by 10 or more, it does indeed add time to the journey. But right now it's just going to be a 5d6. And I love it because there's 5 of you guys whenever you travel to the vast. Everyone gets to roll a d6 and determine how long this is. Now this is going to be divided by the starship's drift rating, and this is a super fast vessel. It has I think a tier 2 drift drive, so it's 5d6 divided by 2.
Roll ones, gang.
Everyone roll d6.
That's not good.
Oh no.
Not good.
Oh no, we're so high.
We roll high when we need to roll low.
Oh, no,
We roll
it's-
low when we need to roll high.
5,
Nobody
6,
rolled below a 3.
3, 4, and 4. Guys, 11.
So
I brought
is that
I brought a harmonica to learn during the trip. I hope you are all prepared for the dulcet tones of
Oh yeah, 20.
It will go well with my accordion.
I had it added wrong. 22 days divided by 2, so 11. It's going to take more than a week, which is probably a little more than average there. But as soon as you set it in, the autopilot kind of takes over and sets course to leave Ultranius. And it's just a few more hours to get out of the atmosphere before the drift engine warms up, appears to send you guys to another plane of existence. And the drift explodes into the inky blackness of space outside of the Susquehanna system before you're just thrusted into a seemingly unmoving world of green and purple clouds distantly floating impossibly far away. Boy howdy, what are we talking about here with 11 days? That's like, I've got a website specifically for this. Oh goodness gracious, it's 264 hours on board this vessel that has no holographic amusement chamber or anything super fun to do.
But it's got 2 brigs. I mean,
two brigs you can hang out in if you want your private room.
I locked the giant bug with the harmonica in a brick.
This is good.
Who would like to roleplay my favorite scenes from Law and Order Absalom Station?
Chung chung.
Dressed as the Chung Chung.
Maybe we should get really meta with it. Devasho comes in. He's holding a GM divider, and he's like, "We could play our favorite game of space goblins and dice. I have a campaign idea I've wanted to try out for some time."
Oh boy, getting real meta. That's going to be season 2.75. You all play space TTRPGs. No, but for real, you can take a look at the new rules for downtime stuff that you want to do, but beyond the official rules for downtime, which feel free to take a look at. I'm more interested in how your characters are kind of processing being able to step away from your duties or the war for so long. I mean, you've already had like a week of vacation, and now you have a week and a half aboard this vessel with nothing happening to you in the drift. No glitch gremlins here, no evacuees crowding your starship. Definitely no Xantos Loachword. I'm sorry, it's busy right now, Miles. So nothing but the 5 of you. You can monitor the ships, for as many hours as you want. All the different things going on in the vessel, but it is running perfectly and is very boring to do. What do you think your characters would be doing in all this free time?
Sprouts would probably get bored enough that he would play Defasha's game.
Oh boy. Oh boy, I didn't see any purchases made to Vasho for any kind of fun games.
You do not. That is the greatest thing about space goblins and starships. You do not need fancy rule books or intricate maps. It's theater of the mind. We will create whole worlds in this brig that I have been shoved in with my harmonica.
sounds awful. Does anybody else have any character growth moments or things that you would
I don't know. I don't know about growth necessarily, but Zinnia is, of course, going to spend as much time as possible working on her field kit and research, and especially researching what kinds of swarm might be on planet when they get there, doing some research ahead of time.
I mean, Illemchuuva fell extremely fast. It fell faster than Suskellin. There wasn't like an organized, as large a military presence on that planet as the SDF had on Suskellin. But yeah, this is 2 planets that you've called home for an extended period of time that have fell to the swarm. I think we joked about being cursed at the beginning of the AP, but what if their next target is like Verces or somewhere else that you've called home, Zinnia?
Yeah, for sure. Well, and I do think that besides the science, she would. I think Suskellin, from what I understood, she didn't spend a ton of time there. Like, she had kind of just arrived there and had escaped Illemchuuva right before the swarm attacked. So
right.
I suspect that she has a lot more actual ties to the people who used to be there, and perhaps is trying to distract herself or keep herself from thinking about all those people and humanizing the decay, because there's nothing she can do about that now. I mean, it's gone. Those people are gone, and she's probably burying a lot of that.
The freakish thing about both Suskellin and Illemchuuva, Suskellin got a good amount of people off the planet before it fell, as the war was raging on for some time. There's still obviously thousands of people missing in action, but Illemchuuva was a little more than that. So there are definitely people you're unsure if they made it out, if they perished, unfortunately, in the invasion. So you might be coming back to find some harsh realities. Anybody else? Anything you're grappling with? Any training you want to do, or other downtime activities?
I think Echo 7 would spend a lot of time learning the Sheeran language.
Oh,
it's come up quite a bit. He's sort of experimenting more with the culture side of things. He has been largely obsessed with pop culture to this point, but actual culture is something that he has been exposed to a lot, especially in the caves we were in recently, and that's something that he would probably like to try to learn is to be more useful in what's going on.
At any point, does Tress drop into casual conversation that you got to meet Eoxy in reality TV star Adros Veronis, and Echo 7 was like this close to meeting him?
What?
Oh yeah, he was on the Ultranius New Kraken HQ.
Bro!
Yeah, he stopped by and he was a real chill dude.
Why didn't you text me?
We totally broed out super hard. He said I was his best friend.
Was Elentra there?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Even the short one. The how do you say
Gnak?
Gnak, I believe his name is.
Gak.
He's a good rat. Gnak. Yeah. I would maybe like maybe this comes up like while I'm like sort of helping you practice your Sheeran, and we're sort of like I'm like saying this to you in Sheeran.
Java Fa Shings Adros Veronis. Cool bro. Cool bro. Cool.
What's weird is that bro in Sheeran and in common is the same word. It's
the same
almost
word.
like it originated from Sheeran.
Universal word, yeah.
Yeah. I do think that Devasha would do the workout downtime activity.
Oh, so you'd be burning RP all the time, just working out nonstop.
Oh yeah, burning RP. I mean, some RP maybe, not
all of it though, Patrick.
Not all of it though.
Yeah, I would. I think maybe Trest is having a little bit of trouble meditating these days. So that's sort of, I'm trying to pass the time, but I don't know, 11 days is it's a lot of time to pass with meditation. But I'm having some trouble as I'm just, I keep turning over what Sister Spark was saying about like letting go and and whether this is really advice I want to be taking from somebody like that.
Psycho
I feel like
killer.
Yeah, kiss
Say.
I guess
she didn't kill Briar, but there were bombs planted and things like that. People could have died at her hands.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, she took life, thought life was very cheap, and I'm not really sure I want to take advice from somebody like that. But at the same time,
you don't want to.
She seems to know.
Oh, I was going to say you don't want to go the opposite direction and be like Zilla, man, who loves friendship.
Yeah, but I don't want to. But at the same time, it's like I can't help but worry that maybe she's right. Maybe if I don't find some way to unleash a little bit of chaos, maybe I won't be able to defeat the swarm.
Right. So, before you know it, you guys are eventually at the end of this trip. The computer is like counting down, and you guys can get mustered up, make your way to the bridge to begin preparations on exiting the drift. And as you do, you're still very far away from the planet Illemchuuva. The Flash Viper just kind of slides quietly out of drift space. Very far away, you see just a pale grayish yellow dot in the far distance of the material plane here. And as long-range sensors begin to pull some visual details up Zinnia, the first thing that you think is there's something wrong with them. There's no way that this is the lush, the vibrant world of your former alma mater, because it was nothing but green and blue, a little backwater planet. But it has since turned yellowed. There's black, arid cracks along the surface and is covered in thick, roiling gray clouds. But as you're scanning, your scans bring up something else, maybe more important. Trails of multiple swarm vessels kind of carving flight paths around the planet, as well as a line of a few geostationary locked swarm fleet ships, forming a barricade across some unseen line of latitude on the planet. The swarm are still here, everyone. Of course they are. Make me a culture profession soldier tech. See what you can tell about these developments.
Ooh, I get a -5 to the DC for profession soldier.
Ooh. I don't know that you'll need it with Zinnia's role, but
yeah, I got a natural 20 on that.
Farts.
Eat farts. Let's do it. Well, maybe you roll 22.
No,
20 as well. No,
14.
You can't.
I know the difference between a commander and a captain.
You're
about time.
That's all I know with my roll. Rebecca, you're pretty sure from like past swarm invasions that they would typically have abandoned a planet within days or maybe weeks at most of completely overtaking it. So yeah, given the reports that they targeted Chuva, shortly after you left, a little before the invasion of Suskelin, it seems like they might have some vested interest or some reason that they're still here beyond just what they normally do with planets, which is just invade, consume, and move on. So what would you guys like to do? There are other planets in this system, but your main mission here is to get down to Illemchuuva. If you do want to search other planets or planetoids, if you have like a specific question, we might be able to do some skill checks real fast and see what data you can bring up. But
do we know if there had been people who escaped the planet where they would have gone?
So I don't think there are any other like super habitable planets in the system. There's a moon of the Illemchuuva that had a base on it, which was destroyed or evacuated from the reports that Commander Najiri gave you. Besides that, there might be like mining operations and like other small settlements, perhaps around some of the planets. But for the most part, when there is a system like this that has like one primary hub, a lot of those people, if they didn't evacuate, would have to have moved on for either security or financial reasons. So if there are people there, they're in no shape probably to help you out. If that makes sense. What do you guys like to do?
Do we know anything else about So there's that moon. Do we know anything else about what else is in the system? Or, I mean, is Illemchuuva kind of it?
No. I mean, I imagine you having been here before, you probably have a good idea of the different planets, and there are like some moons around like gas giants and things like that. A few smaller settlements that, like I said, probably took off after the invasion started. Same way with, a good many people left, even Ultranius, when Suscalon, just a sister planet in the same system, was taken over. Why don't you make me a culture check based on this other planets and planetoids? I'll tell you what you know.
It's only an 18.
There are some dwarf planets around, like the outside of the system, like icy kind of rocky places where there might have been like mining operations and things like that. There is a huge gas giant, but there are tons of moons there, not almost any of them populated. And yeah, besides Illemchuuva, there's a planet Untitled, which is like a smaller inner planet closer to the sun, as well as Quandali, another place that has mines, but is almost completely uninhabitable to carbon-based life form. There's a large Quarlo settlement that was there, but same thing. Probably a lot of them kind of took off after the Illemchuuva was taken over.
What'd you say that one was called?
Quandali.
Quandali.
So, yeah, these are people that can like live besides lava lakes and things like that. The Quarlo. But yeah, if you do want to make your way now or later to some of these planets, or if you need a place to escape to, they're days away. In the drift, they might be a little bit less, but they would take some time to get there.
Mm.
I guess I should ask if there's anything the captain wants to do, Miles.
Well, I mean, I think that Sprouts would want to do the thing that's most conducive to their actual mission. Mm-hmm. So if there's something that they really do need to get here, then I mean,
time's a wasting.
It might be worth risk doing.
I mean, from these scans and the ships around the planet, no matter what, it is going to be dangerous. But all of you are pretty sure that you can buy some time and get to the planet's moon, which is called Chachimik, and maybe draw closer without drawing attention to you. And if you scan, there like I said, was a settlement on Chachimik. There's no life signs there, so that one's a freebie. But yeah, beneath you on the planet's stratosphere of Illemchuuva, it is a hornet's nest. You do see the smaller kind of picket line of ships that make their way back and forth doing these long patrols. You can time them out, like every 10 or 15 minutes. But there's also fairly close to you a very massive swarm battleship kind of anchoring this flotilla in space. Beneath you all, you see the planet is scarred. There's evidence of the devastation even from orbit, where there was once waterways and lakes and oceans and things. Visible lava flows, so there's these giant volcanic events happening, spewing things into the atmosphere. You can see that on the planet's nighttime side very easily, and on the sunny side, as you look down on this planet, these fast-moving storm fronts that just kind of blow across these vast, endless deserts. A single, unbroken shade of dusty gray moving over kind of like a baked sand-like feature. Mm. I was going to say, while you guys are looking at these ships, we are talking a lot of things you can do to identify them. Engineering, piloting, culture, or profession soldier. So there's no excuse. roll something, and I'll be able to give you information, hopefully.
Can I use mysticism?
No, Tyler. I gave you 4 other skills.
But I don't have any of that stuff.
Just roll one of them. All right, we've got some successes here.
Yay! My profession soldier's doing something.
Thank goodness. Yeah, you there's playing cards that are passed around of like silhouettes of different swarm ships, and you've maybe played a few hands. You know the battleship is a Dreadlancer, an incredibly dangerous swarm vessel that could cut through your starship like it was made of paper. And the smaller ships are kind of like more of the same size as your vessel. They are called Altaferons, and are used like exactly what they look like they're used for: patrol, escort ships, those kind of things. Great. Any questions so far as we're going through the scouting data here you guys are getting?
Yeah, can we see if the battleship is like positioned over a particular part of the planet? Like, is it watching something, or is it just kind of orbiting around?
I think it's really difficult. A lot of the data that you're getting here is just you like analyzing the visuals. All the satellites that were here and all the points of reference for like GPS location are gone. Make me a culture check. See if you can tell kind of what's it's hovering over. Oh boy,
that's another natural 20.
Stop it already. Yeah, you are pretty sure it is focused over one of the larger continents on Illemchuuva, and that is where Erd is, the city where Zesh University is.
So when we say this is a stealth ship, like how stealth ship is this ship?
I mean, it's as stealthy as the STF gets, and you're pretty sure. I'm going to take one of your several profession soldier checks, Trest, that it is possible to sneak into this kind of blockade using something called a Vesk dead drive maneuver. And it's a stealth practice of burning engines hot and achieving almost, like a max cruising speed, and then cutting all electrical systems and just coasting into a planet's gravitational pull using only micro thrusters, which was a maneuver used by the Vesk in their wars with the Pact Allied worlds many years ago to great effect. Is that going to be possible? Is that something you guys can do? Make me a computer check, see if you can kind of divine a window of opportunity to drop in stealth styles. Oh, goodness gracious. I'm scared. There are no DCs that are like 30s right now in this AP. We've got a 30 from Sprouts at the captain's chair, and you've mapped out like all the data miles that the ship has kind of brought back to you, and are certain that you can like cut as soon as these Altaferons kind of like move out of range and get away from this Dreadlancer to do that kind of maneuver on a far side of the planet, but you can travel back to where you need to get to after that. And it's a short gap, but it is enough if you play your cards right to be able to just slip through their defenses.
Let's do it.
I will warn you guys, it's a dangerous maneuver because if they are able to find you, you will probably be attacked. I'll just warn you about that right now. They're kind of an attacky people, the Swarm. And you might be attacked with your vessel depowered, which is not conducive to fighting a starship battle. So if your gambit fails, you're vulnerable. What are you guys' thoughts? Are there any dissenting voices?
I mean, this is where we need to go, correct? Like, we need to get down there.
Oh, yeah. You can't do it from orbit, that's for sure. Yeah, get some scouting, some boots on the ground.
And I think Dabasha, just because he hates spaceflight, would be like, there are no other options. Like, exhausted all possibilities.
I mean, it's possible we could try to create a distraction, like a timed distraction on like the other side of the system or something. Like, I don't know. Do we have any thermonuclear devices on this ship? Like, I don't know. What would attract a bunch of?
So I can tell you, as far as weapons goes, there is a torpedo, a light torpedo launcher on the vessel. It has a limited range, so basically the range that you could fire this thing at would be a range where they would probably be able to detect you via sensors. So that is a dangerous gambit, but you wouldn't be able to fly around the far side of a planet and like fire it off and then come back and try and do your thing, because there are multiple ships that kind of make laps around different parts of the planet. I will say there are rules specifically for stealth, which are pretty fun if you guys want to try them out. The worst case scenario, like I said, is a starship combat, but I will warn you, as fast as the ship is, you'd be able to outrun the Dreadlancer, which is like a huge battleship. It has maybe less than half of your speed, but these Ultiferons would be able to catch up to you. So if the gambit fails,
I mean, that sounds like a good plan to me. You guys wanna do the vest?
Jimmy Dugan shake and bake.
stealth time.
Yeah, the shake and bake is what they call it.
What did I call it?
Vesk Overdrive.
Vesk
something
Dead
weird.
Drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go for it.
First off, make me an engineering check, and a couple people can aid on this to kind of set the route correctly and be able to turn off the power at the right moment.
Yeah.
80.
Well, whoever wanted to make the main roll here, you're able to turn the power off on the ship. Well, Zinnia got a 33, and then a natural 20 from Sprouts Marlowe. Doing this, you guys, it's only DC 20. Power up the vessel and get it burning to where you're on like a straight shot from Chachamix, the moon's gravity, and do just like an orbital burn, breaking free and sending yourself careening down to the planet. And then as soon as you kind of like align the Viper, you cut the power. Boom. No thrusters, no energy core to be read. So you're kind of floating dark.
Yeah, so this is basically just like coming back on one of the Apollo missions.
Yeah, it's a little less scary than that, but there's no one to catch you if you fall from this or if you fail in this gambit. You guys can have life support and artificial gravity on. You can turn them off, but those are not something that can really be read from afar, like a ship burning. It's afterburners, and your scanners you can still have on, but if you ping an enemy starship, that can give away your location as well. But yeah, you have these micro thrusters, so you can adjust attitude and make one small change to your starship's trajectory, and like an hour later, and you're off like a way different part of your course. So you have some attitude adjustments you can still make, which could be important because this is indeed going to be hours of silent, kind of quiet work here on the starship, and is going to require some skill checks. In fact, there are 3 skills, and for each of these, only 2 people can aid, but I have set a precedent in our last book, if you recall, that if you give your aid to someone else, I will also allow you to give your book reroll to another player if they're aiding in that specific skill. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think we did that with the trial of Xantos Lochwort, the mutiny, if you will.
We did.
You guys are going to love these 3 skill checks. The first one, to kind of determine the flight patterns and the psychology of these swarm ships, because they are living starships, mind you. First skill is life science. I don't know if there's anyone in your party that is like adept at that, but
Zinnia knows a few things. But
the second one, believe it or not, is sense motive. Is there another operative that seems to focus ability on that? And the third skill, it's like Liz Liddell themselves wrote this AP with you guys in mind. Third skill is profession soldier, which we have a few of. Now, I could make this very difficult by saying you had to make one of each of these, but you can do all 3 in one if you'd like. Trying to predict these swarm movements, trying to feel them out tactically or psychically with vibrations, or sciencey magic of life science. But you can do one of each. You can do 2 of one. You can do 3 of one if you want. But each one will be 1 check and up to 2 aids. So, what would you guys like to do?
Well, I can auto aid sense motive.
So can I.
Well, I mean, I was thinking you would make the
you'll
check.
be rolling it.
Yeah, Miles, you would be making the check, right?
Oh, okay. Yes.
I'm guessing you have the best sense motive, but does anybody else have? I you guys can talk about your bonuses or whatever, but I imagine all of these skills are well within potential wheelhouses.
I have a huge bonus to sense motive. It's -1.
Oh, get out of here.
So
Go back to the gunnery station.
Do we have anyone who can aid in life science?
I mean, I can roll.
You can try.
I got a 0 to it, so
anyone can aid. It's a DC 10, mind you, but
yeah. Does anybody else have any life science?
I mean, I have a +5.
does life science have to be trained?
it does not. No, like I said,
Not for
DC
this.
10 to aid.
I mean, I have
So
nothing
I can
in it, but
auto
I have
aid
a
on.
1. But
I can auto aid on professional soldier. So
Okay.
13 in that.
All right, so I've got a +8 to profession soldier. So honestly, we have like practically the same DC on that, and so
Sounds like you guys want to do one of each. Is that what I'm hearing?
yes.
Do you want to start with one in particular, life science, sense motive, or professional soldier, and just see how you do?
I mean, I guess let's go in that order, right?
Yeah.
Do a life science first.
Sure. Anyone aiding me?
I can try to aid.
Yeah, I can try to aid.
Do we get multiple tries to aid?
Two attempts, and True. Why did you? Do you have the best bonus in life science?
I didn't know that.
It doesn't matter.
We're fine.
That's a 33.
We're fine.
Oh
With
yeah, we've got one
the bonus.
aid and a straight up 17 on the dice. So believe it or not, that will be a single success.
All right.
Sweet.
Okay, then I'm gonna aid Miles on a sense motive. Somebody else wanna join me on an aid here? Pachoo.
What
Oh.
we got?
Aid.
Wow, a motive has been sensed.
We've got
Yeah, that's gonna be a total of 31.
oh yeah, you guys auto aid. So wow. So +4 to your 27 miles. Believe it or not, that's a success as well.
All right.
I think it. Yeah. So it just requires 2 successes to get through. But if you want to add panache to this, let's do.
And you know we
soldier.
do.
Let's do
Let's do
professional
it, let's do
soldier and
it.
see what happens. Who's rolling?
I will aid.
Who's rolling the main role for a professional soldier?
Chipper.
I'll do that.
Oh no.
I auto aid, but
Whew. Okay, here we go. Oh, gotta stretch it out. Limber up.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody else want to throw me a bone? Use what old Trest has taught you these last month or
does
so.
no one else have profession soldier?
They weren't
No?
taking notes. They weren't
Basho
taking
does.
notes when I taught them all those lessons.
Tyler.
I was.
Damasha was a guard, not a soldier. He's brand new at this.
Okay. Good point. Good point. What are your ranks in, Tyler?
So no one just,
Mysticism, intimidate, diplomacy,
Okay, sorry.
athletics.
Sorry.
Drew, can you just roll me a d20 to see if maybe you grab one of those? You just happen to get a success in this.
How good of a soldier is Echo 7?
You're gonna make him waste a 20.
Oh, okay. All right, it was worth a try. Okay, here we go.
For the panache. Ooh.
Ooh, boy,
It
yowzers.
almost was a 20 on the dice, but
So 16 plus 2, 18, minus 5 to the DC.
that is a fail. And you do sense with the ship sensors another Altafieron patrol that would have, if you had not altered course before, come right across your vessel. Your soldiery instincts not enough to keep you out of that, but being able to detect and sense motive and figure out their cycles through science is enough to get you guys through into the upper atmosphere of Illemchuuva.
That was a little anticlimactic. Sorry, guys.
Well,
It would have been so
yeah,
cool.
but
It would've
still,
been so
well
cool.
done.
3.
well done, skill check team. Drew and I have had a lovely
well
cup of tea
done.
here this time.
Well done, operatives.
If anybody needs any help with push-ups or flipping around, we
Everyone's
got
okay
that.
with an entire stealth AP, right? Just skill checks, nothing else.
Yeah.
Stealth is
Yeah.
kind of Zinnia's speed, so that'd be
I
fine.
literally have a plus 16 to acrobatics if anybody needs help with that check.
As
Do that.
as soon as you guys sneak past this blockade, enter Illemchuuva's atmosphere, there is so much kind of static and things from these huge storms that you're 100% sure that you can put your boosters back on, and even if they were like actively scanning for you, they'd probably get nothing but white noise and shatter on their living sensors. But yeah, you still have to make your way across the planet, make your way to UDZ, U-U-D-Z, the city where Zinnia, your Zesh University, used to be located. Doing so without satellites or, the standard points of reference like oceans and rivers is a little difficult because as you get a closer look at it, the entire surface has been changed. This is almost like a asteroid or comet has hit the planet and completely changed it in less than a year's time. As the terrain rolling below your ship stripped of almost all vegetation save for straggly blackened trees. There's a dry, powdery soil terrain beneath you where you see cracks and crevices kind of slicing up the landscape here. There's bubbling, fuming lava pockets as well as vast chasms just kind of reaching into the earth itself. They're spitting out countless dark clouds of greasy smoke into the atmosphere here. And as you're flying, you see huge, colossal swarm creatures kind of buried into these crevices, belching out these clouds here. Zinnia, why don't you make me a life science check? I think after these rolls, I'm gonna need a high roll to determine what these things are.
It's a 19, but if it's a xenobiology, it's -5 to the DC.
That is still not enough to figure it out, but they stand as nearly as tall as a building, and they look like they are eating the planet alive. Where you remember rolling green hills and trees covering, the landscape, it's another planet. It's alien now. And looking at the readouts, it seems indeed like where you're going towards the city of UDZ. Entire hills and valleys have been kind of reshaped and destroyed since you were a student here. But you are eventually, through some of the points of reference Commander Najiri gave you and some of your local know-how, able to find it. The city of UDZ, it is, like I said, on the planet's larger continent, so you're able to narrow it down. It is south of a massive depression that was once a lake, but is now just kind of like a huge crater. And you can see it bears, the city bears scars of what looks like untold devastation in the face of intense fighting, as well as the rest of the planet's surface. There's giant explosion like craters, and the buildings, those that are left standing, are burnt and half destroyed, and some are just, foundations. But yeah, as you're looking over, maybe scanning the area below here, there you see what looks like one of these huge chasms kind of separating the western third of the city from the remainder, from a side that has what used to be the starship port for the city of UDZ. And it's almost like a tectonic plate, like half of the city has now risen up and the other half kind of sunk into the ground. And even from the air, you can tell with scanners and the naked eye that this place is crawling with swarms. Looks like a hornet's nest of movement down there still, as creatures kind of crawl over these destroyed remains. There does not seem to be a place to land here in the city that is not just completely unusable piles of cratered rubble. So you're gonna have to travel outside, miles of these crags and crevices to find a suitable landing zone. Make me a computer check, see if you can find a stable site. Okay, we've got 30, right, on the computers?
Yep.
That is enough to find a place to touch down that is safe. It is a few miles out of what is almost like a plateau that UDZ now rests upon. As soon as you touch down here, though, some of the alarms start going off on the ship as it detects, maybe a few seconds before it moves upon you, a large gray storm cloud with heat lightning arcing over it. It rolls over the starship, and as soon as it does, you guys are just inundated in monsoon winds and rains, just buffeting the outside of your vessel with caustic rain. Imagine once you boot the power back up, you had your shields up, but you can hear it plinking against your energy shields as they become pitted with the pitter-patter of what seems like acid rain eating away at them and dripping down to the metallic hull beneath. Indeed, Starship's going to take some damage. Let me roll that right now. I rolled not too high, 12 points of damage, and I can tell you that is just shy of being able to affect the hull. I think the shields are actually able to keep that out quite handily.
Could you imagine if you got into a fight, like you failed the gambit, you got into a fight, you barely survived, you land, and then there's like acid, and it just like the ship's dead. I would be furious.
Well, don't worry, I've rolled the wrong dice here. I rolled 46. It's 40-10. Oh, I forgot. This is book 3.
Oh my god, that's even worse.
Let's re-roll that. Okay, that's enough to take a little bit of hull damage. Your shields on each quadrant are 25. I've rolled 26, so a point of hull damage. Not too bad from a huge storm of acid rain that kind of buffets you guys. But it's over almost as soon as it's upon you, and like the ship's sensors kind of like read all clear as it moves off south down the destroyed coastline of what was an ocean. Right, so as you're setting down here, make me a piloting check to set that ship down gently, Zinnia. Did you know this was going to be the Zinnia episode of skill checks?
Tell me about it. 31.
All right, so you have saved the ship from taking some more damage as you were able to very gently put it down on what seems unstable terrain. But the landing gears are able to find purchase against the crumbling stone beneath you, and you guys are parked. You're landed. What would you like to do? You ready to head out immediately and head back towards the city?
To be honest, I feel like Zinnia needs a moment to breathe. I mean, she's seen a bunch of a devastated planet. When the last time she saw it, it was lush and beautiful, and I think that would be very shocking to see it in real life. Even though she knows what happened, but it's
almost unreal because you didn't see any of the destruction. You didn't see this happening, though you got to see a bit of it on Susquehanna firsthand. This is like terraforming what they've done to this planet. They have stripped it of just about everything living, and stripped it down to the acidic core almost.
Is there any way that we can predict when a acid storm like that last one will come through here again?
I don't think you have any access to meteorological equipment, or like I said, there's nothing in orbit any longer. So no, I would say as a general thing. I think those kind of rules, like once you get out in the environment and start feeling them, would be a survival skill check.
Okay.
But from what you saw, I mean, the planet is covered in different storms moving in very fast across the surface.
And
would it be a good idea to turn on our environmental protections before we leave the ship?
Oh, it's not a bad idea. I'll take that.
I would think so.
Mind you only have 24 hours per, I think, level of the armor that you're wearing. I don't expect you guys to know it offhand, but I don't think anyone's really upgraded their armor too much. So you have a few days if you're heading out. You can always come back to the ship to recharge those kind of things, but I would recommend it.
Yeah, it seems like a good idea.
I might have some other things to throw at you.
Devasha is just going to be a cool bug and just walk out there.
He doesn't need it. He doesn't need environmental protections. It's built into his body. He's cool like that.
Yeah, well, I can fly, so.
I don't get hit by that acid rain. I don't.
Yeah, I was like, do you know how rain works?
I'll fly over the cloud.
So Rebecca, Zinnia is volunteering to scout ahead, fly ahead of everyone. Is that what you're saying?
No, I didn't say that. It sounds like Devasha was volunteering for that.
I mean, I can.
Well,
I can, but I hope you don't want me to sneak anywhere. I'm just kind of galumphing.
It's okay, I can hide.
Sneak with a fist. As you can put on your environmental protections. I would recommend just fully loading up, as it will be a bit of a hike to get back here to the ship if you need something. But as you step forward, you can see this, pitted terrain here is just covered in huge puddles of acid rain that has collected from this very brief storm of like maybe a minute or so. The ground is very unstable underneath you. Part of it, will crumble underneath your boot steps but for the most part, you can find your way around these puddles. But that is when the ground, these ash heaps, kind of crumble beneath your feet. That's when you feel it slowly, kind of rumbling through your boots from the ground underneath you. You take a look at the hill you're about to crest, and 100 swarm dredgers, as well as 2 big old flying bugs, pop up over the hillside, headed your way, psychically screaming in your directions. To be continued.
Oh,
Jeezy,
back in
crazy.
the ship. Back in the ship. We're just gonna fire a torpedo. We're just gonna
That
take
is
care of.
not a joke. There are hundreds of swarm coming at you, and I'm very excited about next week's episode.
Oh, good.
You know what I wish I had with me? That crystal I
raid?
stole.
Yeah,
that too.
everyone, you're mine now.
I like how Zinnia is probably thinking, I only see 2 enemies I have to deal with.
Everyone I've spoken with that has run this AP is like, this is very cinematic stuff. I'm very excited to get into it. We are back at war with the Swarm, literally next time. So we're going to start next week's episode with some combat.
Oh, man.
I can't wait to hear how this is going to go.
I miss Swarm attacking you folks. Book 2 was a lot of fun. I had characters that could talk and things like that, but now I'm excited about characters that can attack you. All right, that will do it for this week's episode, guys. Thanks for playing with me.
Thank you,
Thank
Patrick.
you.
Listeners out there, do not miss next week, and we will see you here next time. Bye-bye.
Goodbye, Liz. Later.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Cosmic Crit. This episode has been made possible through a sponsorship with Roll20 and the backing of our Critamander fans on Patreon. Thanks again and have a great week.